From an evolutionary point of view, our emotions and thoughts develop under the influence of a very basic layer of human nature that we share with animals, bodily urges. In order to understand human consciousness with its emotions and thoughts, let's start with the exploration of our physiological needs. By urges, I mean all vital functions that maintain the body. This includes thirst, hunger, breathing, excretion, sneezing, release of gases, sleeping, sexual drive, the list goes on and on. Bodily urges are natural movements choreographed through the process of adaptation to the stimuli from natural environment. We call it evolution. The body uses these movements to reach the state of homeostasis, which is basically a fancy word for describing that the body regulates itself to keep the balance of its internal functions. The goal of the body, as of any physical or biological system, is to maintain itself to stay intact, which for the body means to stay alive. It does so by absorbing material from the environment and using it to constantly rebuild itself. We call it metabolism. We eat, drink and breathe to get the building material in different forms so that we can extrude energy from it to basically maintain the body's form and processes, while at the same time releasing the used up material outside and back into the environment. That's why we regularly need to go to the toilet to do. You know what I'm talking about. It's a constant giving and taking, absorbing and releasing. These circular processes on different levels keep our body in permanent inner movement, which is what makes it a living whole, an organism. All those periodical movements we can simply call urges. Their only function is to meet the body's needs of survival and reproduction. That's why sexuality is also part of it. Urges result from the never-ending exchanges between the inner world of our body and the impulses from the outside environment. So, we've defined the term. Now, how does it all fit together with the development of emotions and thoughts and consciousness in general? Well, the answer is, initially, human emotional life developed from bodily urges. When you try to explain a certain aspect of reality, it sometimes seems as if you had to explain all of it to see that specific part in the right context. Having said that, it's difficult to explain human nature without comparing it to animal nature. That's why let's extend our exploration of consciousness all the way back to animals. The fundamental bodily needs express themselves as urges in both animals and humans. Animal behavior is all about finding food, shelter, and reproduction to ensure its survival and the continuity of the species. These impulses of self-preservation are encoded in our own bodies as ancient animal deposits. We share them with animals, but of course we humans are so much more than that. Let's focus on this fact alone for a second. Urges are physiological movements that arise from bodily needs in an animal for the sake of survival. Urges make it possible for an animal to instinctively know when to drink, eat, and breathe. Another way of saying it is an urge is biological arousal expressing a bodily need. When those basic needs are satisfied, the body feels physical satisfaction. When they are not satisfied, the body feels discomfort or even pain. You can probably tell that there is not a big gap between satisfying a bodily need and feeling pleasure, or between feeling physical pain and having fear. An animal reacts with fear or anger when it feels threatened or prevented from obtaining what it needs for survival. Under the influence of its bodily needs, an animal develops an emotional life. At those primitive stages, its emotional expression is highly connected with its physical needs. In a nutshell, body-related functions represent the most primitive part of human nature. As development proceeds among species, the primitive part doesn't fully disappear. Instead, it becomes an integral part of the increasingly more complex organism. Although functions are not really replaced, they rather add up and get pushed into the background, a fact that you can recognize, for example, from the structure of the human brain. Our more primitive parts build the lower core of the brain, while the more advanced parts grow up and run the core, like onion layers. You'll find out more about emotional and mental development in the next video. Check it out!